but today I want to talk about 3 signs that you may be too attached to life. And the reason why I'm talking about this today is because I want to touch on the difference between connecting to life and being attached to life, right? You kind of get where I'm going there. If not, stay with me. Or even if you're kind of like, yes, I get that. Stay with me. I would love to hear your thoughts as I get into this. Because the other day after a yoga class, I had a student come up to me and say, "Are you this chill all the time?" And at first I had to ask for some clarification in where she was going with that. Cause I was like, cool. Like, yeah, I come off as a chill person. Like, at first my ego's like, yeah, like cool. And then I was like, well, I mean, I try to be in terms of just being calm and being grounded and going with the flow and yeah, giving off the calm vibe that I do give off in my classes. And so it was really cool to get that compliment of like, she got a chill vibe for my class. But then it brought up this whole conversation that we got into about kind of how I go about just being like chill every day, right? And what got brought up during this conversation was I said to her in the moment, like, you can't be so attached to life. And she was like, what? And I go, yeah, I know yeah, duh, you're attached to life because you're living and you want to live life, right? But really I got into there's this difference between attaching to life, like being attached to it, and connecting to it. And so that's what I'm here to talk about today. And I want to talk about the 3 signs that you can kind of differentiate where you're at. If you are a little on the attachment side, or if you are living more in connection with life. So stick with me. Because really when it comes down to it, there's a difference, connecting to life versus being attached to life. When we're attached, we live out of fear. We live in fear-based decisions. We tend to lean into the safety net of our fear of kind of staying where we're at, right? Because we're attached to whatever that circumstance is. So we don't take those risks. We take the safe route, which is really our fear telling us to just stay put. And so there's a lot of that living in fear when you're attached to life. You may not take the job that your heart is really telling you to, right? Go be a yoga teacher, go be an artist, because society says that like, that's not going to make you successful necessarily, right? You need to go get a 9-to-5 job, working behind some desk, doing some corporate job to give you that safety. So your fear tells you to go and do a job where you may get into autopilot and not enjoy each day. And it just becomes very draining, right? Energetically, because you didn't follow your heart. You're doing that fear-based decision making. And when you're in connection with life, you're able to ride the waves of the unpredictability of life, or just ride the waves of where your heart is calling you to do. Because that's going to take you ups and downs of having to tap in and do your own inner work, of having to do hard things, of having to learn new things, right? But you're making intuitive decisions. You're following what your heart is telling you to do, and you find yourself in the places that you want to be. You find yourself in those places where, yes, you may have took the risk, where you had to learn something new, but then you are that much more knowledgeable, and you're in that new place where you are happy doing that job that being that yoga teacher, because you took the leap to go get your certification. And even though you didn't know if you could do it, you did it, right? And so that was you following your intuition and what you feel called to do in this life. So connecting to life is riding that wave and making intuitive decisions versus being attached to life and living out of fear-based decisions. And then the second sign is when you're attached to life, you hold on to things. You have a resistance to the reality that's laid out in front of you, right? So when you're attached to the person that you think you should be, right? Or this person that people are telling you to be, when you're attached to that image, you're really holding yourself back, and you're attached too much to that life of that image, that person, that story that you're telling yourself you need to follow, when really you're resisting what is meant for you, your most authentic expression that you were put on this earth to express, right? So when you are in connection to life, you are able to shift that and you can release what doesn't serve you. So you're able to start releasing those outside beliefs. You start to release those expectations you have set for yourself that aren't in alignment for yourself. And you're able to open to receive. You're able to find yourself in a place where you are open to what each moment offers you. And that's because you're not living in attachment to what the outcome has to be based off of what everyone else has been saying it has to be and the story you built in your head, right? Because you're too attached to that storyline without being in connection to what life actually wants. So those are the first two signs. The last sign I want to offer you when you're too attached to life is you need to see that attachment is on a material level. You need to be aware that it's a material level of attachment. You're always chasing happiness outside of yourself, right? So you might be trying to get that high-paying job so you can have that nice house, so you can provide for your family in the way that society is telling you to, not the way that you feel called. That may be completely opposite of what society, that big house, you have to have the big house, go to the nice schools, versus what maybe your heart is telling you you want to travel on the road and homeschool your kids on the road. Like, that is where your heart is calling you. But then being so attached to life, you are ignoring that. And you are chasing happiness of what someone else is saying it has to be, right? But it's not your happiness. So when you switch that to being connected to life, your connection is on a spiritual level. You're able to connect to that higher calling of where you're meant to be led in this life, and the people you're supposed to meet, and the paths you're supposed to cross, and the people you're supposed to impact, and the person that you are supposed to become, right? It's on this whole new level of connection with not only yourself, but with those around you, with the environment around you, with you just have this whole new level of connection with the experiences that you have and the situations you get in, and peace ends up finding you. Like, all of a sudden you start to realize like things are being laid before you that are bringing you the peace that you want. And so that's the difference, right? It's a big difference. It's a huge difference when you really look at it, and how much you could be suffering in attachment to life, and how free you can be when you're in connection to life. Like, it's crazy. And I've experienced this shift for myself. I used to be so attached to this vision of where my life needed to be, and it was not this vision that I've laid before me now, and that it's unfolded. And when I was in that place of trying to resist where life was trying to lead me, and that's this place here now, I was so unhappy, and I didn't feel fulfilled. I felt very just lost, and there were so many things like my self-worth, like, because I wasn't listening to what I wanted to be for myself, right? It's like you're not honoring yourself in that respect. So then how is life going to honor you and give you those things that you want and be able to like work with you and for you, right? When you're attached to life, you're squeezing it so tight that like it has no room to breathe. It has no room to dance with you and to make it a beautiful, beautiful thing that you get to experience. Because we're here for a short period, yes, but like at the time it seems like, oh my God, like this life is just, things can drag on, right? When you're in attachment, it just seems like it drags on. When you're in connection, it's just infinite potential, right? It's so cool. So to recap, there's a difference connecting to life versus being attached to it. Become aware of how attached you are to life and start to see where you can shift into connection. Because when we're living in fear, when we're living in attachment, we're living in fear. We are holding on to things. We're living in resistance, and it's on a material level. We are chasing happiness. When happiness is right there in front of you, when you can connect to life, You are able to ride the wave. It's a lot less stressful when you can ride the wave and you're able to make those intuitive decisions because you've cleared the way, the space within your mind and body to hear them. When you're able to shift from that attachment to connection, you can release what doesn't serve you, right? You can release the expectations, the outside opinions, the beliefs that have been shoved down without really maybe your consent. You can release those and start to express your most authentic self. You start to open to receive what that is, because sometimes we don't even know what that is because we have so many other people telling you what that is, right? So when you can start to become in connection with life, it clears the way for that. And then lastly, that third shift is when you're in connection with life, it's on a spiritual level. It's on such a higher level for your own good and for everyone else around you. And therefore peace finds you, whether it's finding your soulmate because you've attracted that peace of that right person, or that family, that community that you can surround yourself with, or just that peace within yourself. First and foremost, that's something I so advocate for. So yeah, that's it. That's all I'm going to say on that. Let me know if any of that resonated with you down in the comments. I would love to hear just your own experiences on being attached to life and ways that you have shifted and found more connection, because that is just such a powerful thing for you to be able to hone and harness that power within yourself to do that. Like your life will just change. Promise. Again, I'm Mindful Magpie, and I'm here to just help with finding your self-love, your self-worth, and your connection to life through mindful embodiment, through mindfulness practices. I'm going to keep diving into more of that, but I hope you'll follow along the way, either by hitting subscribe here on YouTube or join me over on social media, on Instagram, Mindful Magpie. And I've got some exciting things I'm working on planning. So just hop on the wagon early and come see where we can grow together. And I so thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing this space with me and hearing my words, and I hope something resonated. Let me know. I'd love to just start a conversation, and that's why I'm here. I'm like, talk back. And I want to reach whoever needs this out there. So let me know if that's you. All right. I hope you have a blessed day, and until next time, my friends, I will see you then.